I was working at the BBC making programmes aimed at the Muslim community in Britain, and then when I set up my own company, we made a series called The Best of British Islam, and I noticed that there was a real demand for people to see positive portrayals of Islam and things which were away from the usual sort of issues that people were facing at the time in terms of extremism or terrorism. So there was an emerging idea of lifestyle content for Muslims and really celebratory content that just sort of showed the best of what Islam was about. When we sold the series abroad, there was clearly an appetite for actually British Islam. People wanted to see what British Muslims were doing here, what kind of headscarves they wear, what fashion they're into, what food they eat, how they live their lives. And really from that, it seemed sensible to then think about how Netflix achieved, sort of global distribution online. So we began to look at how to bring these two ideas together. It's actually a purpose for us. It's not just simply a money-making exercise. We really do believe that we're bringing something good into the world by helping communities and different people see themselves accurately reflected on screen, as well as non-Muslims to watch the content as well. We make sure all non-Muslims, anybody who watches it, can get value out of it. And about 10% of our customers now, it seems, are non-Muslim. And so it helps people understand each other, given all of the difficulties we've had around the Muslim community for the past 2 decades. So it's our sort of solution towards some of those issues. But of course, along the way, there's been doubt. There's been people who have said no. And, we went somewhere, I had great hopes, and I was just shocked at the level of questions that came back, and we clearly weren't prepared for them. And at that moment, someone turned around and said to me, it's that Mike Tyson moment. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. About a quarter of the planet is Muslim, about 1.5, 1.6 billion people are Muslim. And really, when we talk about a digital product, we talk about something that's available as an app or is available for streaming, and there's a subscription price. There's only so much of that market which has actually got the technology to do that, but secondly is also can afford to pay that. But at the same time, if you look at where people are investing, they're seeing that these markets are nascent, that actually it's going to be about who comes in first, who gains that advantage. So the first 20 years of the internet, really from the year 2000 to now, has been the American internet. And the big brands we know, from Google to Facebook, who dominate, they're all American projects. We're now going to see the emergence of really the other parts of the world growing their big markets on the internet. And so for us, really, the focus is going to be the Muslim world. And when we look at the big demographics of the Muslim world, while we're testing the product and kind of developing the product on what are quite sophisticated consumers in the UK and the US, these are middle class, and we call them gummies, global urban Muslims. So they're very sophisticated. They understand that. But now what's coming is really that aspiration is coming. It's coming in India. It's coming in Pakistan. It's coming in Bangladesh. So somewhere like India and Pakistan, that's about 400 million plus Muslims alone. In Bangladesh, there's about 60 million Muslims. Indonesia, there's 280 million Muslims. So you can see the size of the market is enormous. And I think the last sort of calculated figures, about 400 million of those people are going to be middle income. We have a partnership with Amazon Prime. We're the only Muslim platform available on Amazon Prime. And that was an incredible story. We actually got a phone call from Seattle and someone says, I'm calling from Amazon. I was convinced it was a prank call from one of my friends, but actually it turned out that they had seen that there was too much content and people couldn't find their way through their catalogue. So they decided to put channels together. When they put these channels together, they did the usual ones: sports, extreme sports, horror, comedy, and the data suggested that there was a need for Muslim content. And this is the story they told us, that actually they went looking everywhere and everyone said they're the only guys who are doing anything, so you need to talk to them. And that's what led them to us here in East London. We've never been to Seattle, they've never come to see us in East London, and we did some incredible deals and contracting, got everything sorted, and we actually have now met in France, in Cannes, so we got to meet them eventually. But it was amazing what can be done just on the phone and using Zoom and remote calls. It gives me great confidence as an entrepreneur, as a British entrepreneur, that actually wherever we go and talk to people, the trade deals are working because no issues really come up. The UK has a global brand recognition, and a lot of that is down to the BBC. but people do watch content that comes out of the UK, even if it's been watched on Netflix. When people look at The Crown, they instantly think that's a British production, even though it's about the British royal family. And so I think globally, people see Britain as a centre for excellence in terms of how they present their content, how they produce product, fashion, designers, etc. There is a brand British identity, you know, the minis with the Union Jacks on them, you know, the Stella McCartney, Paul Smith, all of these things are known globally, and people aspire to having this quality of British creativity. And when it comes to television, I think people really believe that the quality of the writing, the drama, even the factual content, Planet Earth, you know, Attenborough, all of this is sort of, you know, the crown jewels of British creativity.